The Times of Troy. JuJu Watkins was the star of an epic movie, but it was real life. A pouring rain was still falling when I first arrived, but a sea of fans clad in cardinal and gold nonetheless flooded the sidewalks outside of the arena. The parking structure next to Gallon Center was already full an hour before game time. The traffic on Figueroa and any surrounding streets slowed to a painstaking crawl. This was an event. Somehow, I managed to find a parking spot on 30th Street, a half-mile away, tucking my tiny Chevy Volt miraculously between two giant trucks, with barely any time left to spare before tip. It was chaos, and so quintessentially center stage in the city, for those few hours at least, belonged to women's basketball. And in its brightest spotlight was JuJu Watkins, the Trojan star whose brilliance had never been on such vivid and stunning display. Inside, over 10,000 fans packed the arena to the rafters, humming with anticipation, many of them wearing their own No. 12 jerseys or Watkins regalia. Celebrities mingled courtside, as if this was Staples in its heyday or the Coliseum in the Carroll era. Here was Kevin Hart, Issa Rae, Flea of the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Jaden Daniels, the NFL's Rookie of the Year, Kelsey Plum, the Sparks new star, Vanessa and Natalia Bryant. It was just a few years ago that people said women's basketball in LA can't be big, can't be covered, can't be sold out. Coach Lindsay Gottlieb said, now there were no such doubters, as the Jumbotron struggled just to keep up with Gallon's special guests, all of whom had braved the rain and the gridlock in hopes of seeing something truly singular, something they'd never seen before. Somehow, Watkins managed not only to meet those expectations Thursday, but transcend them, rising to the moment in a way that usually only makes sense in the movies. This was a true-to-life breakthrough on the biggest of stages, a 38-point, 11-rebound, 8-block, 5-assist explosion that would stand alone statistically from any performance in the last 2 decades of basketball, men or women, college or pro. That it came in the midst of Watkins' worst slump as a Trojan only made it all the sweeter. She came out on fire from the field, ready to cast aside that slump in a matter of minutes. But her most impressive stretch, in my opinion, started in the third quarter, when UCLA had mounted a 10-0 run out of halftime to take a lead. Watkins' shooting had cooled a bit. Her teammates wouldn't make a bucket in the second or third quarters. It was clear right then that Watkins couldn't just shoot USC past UCLA, no matter how much star power she packed. So USC called a timeout, refocused its efforts on UCLA's Lauren Betts, and Watkins came alive on the defensive end, doubling Betts in the paint with such ferocity that the 6'7" center had no response. Watkins would block Betts 5 times from then on, giving her 8 blocks for the game, a number that couldn't really communicate what her effort on that end meant. As a freshman, it was clear that Watkins relied a lot on her otherworldly talent. But this was another level, one we hadn't yet seen before. This was a superstar talent unlocking a deeper understanding of who she is and the talent she has, then unleashing it right when her team needed it most. That's what we needed to win, Watkins said. It's not really a calculated thing. It's just like a feel for the game. I kinda let my mind take over. Her talent has carried USC this far, but it's those instincts that will make the most difference in March. Calling for questions. Have a question for me about USC? I want to hear from you. With football firmly in the off-season and basketball ramping up toward March, I'll be putting together a Times of Troy mailbag in the coming weeks. Send your questions directly to me at ryan.koch@latimes.com or on X at @Ryan_Koch. I'll answer as many as I can in an upcoming newsletter. The others, I'll answer via email anyway. Extra points. USC's new general manager will report to Lincoln Riley and to USC's AD Jennifer Cohen. That's a notable departure from how USC, or most other schools, used to handle the role, and a sign of the times in college football. It's also a reflection of how Cohen views the GM position at USC, and by extension the front office, separate of Riley and the on-field football staff. Think of it as more akin to an NFL front office, with the GM evaluated both alongside and separate of the head coach. Of course, Cohen wouldn't hire Chad Bowden if he didn't believe in Riley and his vision for USC football. She has a ton of belief in Bowden too. He really blew us away, she said. The future of House of Victory, USC's NIL collective, is uncertain with the House settlement on the horizon. I have a hard time believing that an enforcement entity, independent of the NCAA and formed by the power conferences, will be able to police NIL any more successfully than the NCAA did.